Hello everyone, thank you guys so much for joining me today. So a quick thing before we continue, I am going to be doing Seattle content. About a year and a half ago, my husband and I moved here blindly. We just wanted to move to Seattle and we didn't do a whole lot of research. Thank God we love it and we don't want to move back to the Midwest, but that's another topic. I'm hoping to do a few videos regarding moving to Seattle to help someone who is thinking of moving to Seattle or just wants to know a little bit more about the place. Let's just start with the video. So, when you're moving to Seattle, the most important thing you can decide is where you want to live. Seattle has multiple neighborhoods around it that you can choose from. Obviously, each neighborhood is a little different, and you're looking into neighborhoods like Lower Queen Anne, Capitol Hill, International District, West Seattle. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter which one. All these neighborhoods are a bit different, so you kind of have to look and research just a little bit more what you guys want. So, do you want to live closer to the city? Do you want to live farther to the city? Um, how much, how do I put this? How important is it for you to live in downtown Seattle? Obviously, if you live in downtown Seattle, the rent prices are going to be higher than you live in, let's say, Tukwila or something. So, that's the one thing that I would highly suggest is how close do you want to be in the city. Second thing I would suggest is, are you coming with a car? If you want to live in downtown and you want to keep your car, are you willing to pay garage fees or any extra fees that come with having a car? The city does have great transportation, so if you do choose to have your car with you in the city, you might not use it as much as you think. So just keep that in mind when you're looking for a place. If you do want to have your car, then I would suggest the further away you go from the city, you're able to obviously not pay higher fees to keep your car or even pay any fees. Here in the apartment we live in the Renton Tukwila area. We pay, I think, only $30 a month for two parking spots. Of course, if you live further away, you might not have to. So keep that into consideration. Real quick, I wanted to show you an example on what I'm talking about regarding how much it'll cost for you to live closer to the city with a car versus going somewhere like, for example, Kirkland and having your car parked there. So, right here, I do have apartments.com. I have one bedroom, parking including about $1,700 max that we would pay. And I'm just going to click on any of these. So if you look down, all the way down, oof, you will see over here, it does say parking is coverage and it is available. This one does cost $250 per month. Looking at another one, looking at another apartment, let's look down. This one seems that the parking is $300 and it is assigned parking. So looking at another hotel in Belltown, this one will cost you $300 per assigned parking, and that is per month. Let's look at Joseph. Going down, it seems like this one has a current wait list for their parking spots. So when you're looking for apartments, just make sure that you look to see how much their apartment costs. If it doesn't say nothing regarding parking, ask them and see how much it'll cost, just so you guys know beforehand. So if we looked over here in Kirkland, I put the same thing, max one bedroom, 1,700. So now looking into Kirkland, we have the same things, one bedroom, we have our max that we would pay, And if we look down to the parking, you can pay anywhere from $75 to $150. So just by this one example, you're able to see the difference between living in downtown with a car versus living in the outskirts of the city, in different locations with a car. There are some apartments that do not that it doesn't cost almost anything to have your car. Like I said, our apartment, we're not that far away from the city. I think we're about 10 miles, and we only pay $30 per month for our parking spaces. I did quickly wanted to show you guys this website. I will link it down below. It basically tells you all the parking spaces and garages in the city that you're able to go to. If you click on one, it tells you the rates, the hours that you're able to do that, um, like going for. So I'll definitely link this below. I think it's something very handy to have, especially if you are new to town. The third thing that I would suggest is your work. How far away do you want your house and your work to be? Are you able to commute a long way, or how how are you gonna get there? Are you gonna take transportation? Are you gonna drive? If you drive, are you able to pay for garages or parking spots in your job? One thing that I always do, and this is not pertaining just to work, I would always put point A and point B in Google Maps just to tell me how far away it is and how long it'll take me. Wanted to show you is how I use Google Maps. So here I already put my location. Let's say I am coming from West Seattle South Center all the way to Pike Place. Let's say I'm working there, using it as an example. I love using Google Maps just to tell me what time I need to leave the house or the apartment, and what time I arrive. So currently it does take 18 minutes to get there. You're able to see how long it'll take in transit, which is 43. You don't need to know the rest really. But one thing I love about the transit here is that you're able to really specify what time you want to leave and what time you want to get there. So if let's say I start tomorrow Thursday, let's say I start at 10:30 a.m. It'll let me know by what time I need to leave, what bus to take, and what time I get there. Let's say I start at 10:30, but I want to get there 15 minutes earlier. Just make sure that you change your time to, let's say, 10 o'clock, and you're able to do that. So one thing I absolutely love in this feature that I don't know if they had this in other cities or not, but I discovered it here, which is when you click on the bus route, it'll actually tell you all the stops, which is great if you're new to the location, you don't know any of the stops and you want to get more familiar with it. For me, I have great anxiety and this helps me calm myself, and I'm able to know where exactly I am and how long it'll take me to get to point A to point B. Another thing that I like about Google Map is when you click on, let's say this one right here, you're able to see another route and it'll be highlighted. Again, if you click on details, you'll be able to see specifically what to do, where to go, and how long it'll take there. I used to use this method a lot, especially when I worked in Pike Place Market. It really showed me what time I had to get up and what time I had to be there. It automatically put in traffic time so you don't have to guess. I normally do 10-15 minutes beforehand just because I don't know exactly what's going to happen. And at this time, I was starting to get familiar with Seattle traffic, which I didn't know back then. The last thing to consider when looking for a place is the distance from your home to your work. How long are you willing to travel to your job? Are you able to take transportation? Are you going to drive to your job? Are you willing to pay for garages or parking fees if you do drive to Seattle or wherever your job is? There's a lot of places here in Washington State to live in. They're great places. I heard Spokane is a great place to live in. Bellingham, which is a little bit north from Seattle. Kirkland is a little bit north from Bellevue. Bellevue is also a great place to live in. Um, Obviously, Tacoma and Olympia, they're some of the larger cities, larger town cities. I'm not entirely sure. Down south from Seattle. So just keep in mind, you don't have to live in the city. Depending on your priorities, if you come here for hikes and for travel and you don't really care how close you live to the city, obviously there's other different towns that you can live in that are just as great as Seattle. And no matter where you live, you can always make a day trip to Seattle. But I did name Issaquah as one of the places that you can live other than Washington. And I wanted to show you how I use Google Maps when I'm looking into towns that I don't really know anything about. Obviously, I highlight the location in Google Maps and it'll highlight everything that is Issaquah, which is good for me to know because sometimes I don't really know how big each town is. And every time I zoom in, I get to see what kind of stores and groceries and hotels and whatnot be. My priority when I was looking for a place was the groceries since I do the shopping for my family. We're a family of two. So shopping, the shopping centers and the groceries were very, very much my priority and still is. So sometimes when I look at locations, I make sure is one location closer to multiple locations or whatnot. So for example, here in Costco, I can see there's not much going around here, but if I go across the street, I'm able to see that there's Trader Joe's here, Target, Safeway, and I can continue looking at this location over here just to see what I need, what my priorities are. I can see that Valley Village is here, which is a great thrift store here in Seattle. If you cannot find a location that you are looking for, you can exit this out, and down here you're able to see what town you clicked on last. You'll go to more and then you'll be able to see if you're looking for banks, gas stations, or pharmacies and stuff, and you'll be able to look at it more quick. And from there you can see how long it'll take you to point A to point B. So I definitely use this a lot when we were moving, especially when we're visiting towns that I don't really know too much about. So I just kind of wanted to show you this. Definitely use Google Maps to your advantage. It really does help you out a lot. So my second point goes along with the first, and it's knowing your priorities. Obviously, this will determine how close you want to live in the city. For example, if your priority is to have restaurants and transportation and entertainment all at your fingertips, then downtown Seattle will be the best for you. But if you're a family, you want a little bit more room, you want a backyard, then maybe looking at the outside neighborhoods will be best for you. Something that'll give you at least a backyard for your kids or your pets. Another example would be if you want to live closer to Mount Rainier and have a great view, then you would have to go south from Seattle to Bellevue, Fifi or Fifi. I call it Fifi. It sounds funny. And so you'll find places closer to Mount Rainier just to have that view. Knowing your priorities when you come to Seattle or move to Seattle is a plus. So, do you want to live closer to transportation so you're able to take it to downtown? Do you want to be closer to the mall? Do you want to be closer to shopping centers or grocery stores so you don't have to go a long distance? You want to live by the highway so that you can just get the highway and go to wherever you need to go. So, the third point that I would want you to think about when deciding where to move is traffic. There's traffic everywhere. Of course, Seattle is a growing city. People do want to live here. There's nothing new about that. One thing I do like about Seattle is that, for example, if I'm coming from Tukwila to go to downtown, then I don't have to take the I-5. I can go through SoDo and go all the way up to downtown Seattle. So don't worry, traffic is terrible, but there's a way to get around it. Why do I bring up traffic? Well, since you are moving here, you need a job. Deciding whether you want to drive to work or take transportation, obviously that'll determine how you're gonna get to work and how long it will take you to get to work. For example, if I am coming from Tequila and let's say I work in Pike Place and it is Tuesday morning, I would have to get up by 8, get on the bus by 8:30. It takes me about 45 to 55 minutes, depending on the traffic, to get to downtown. Sorry, it cut me off. My point is keep in mind the length of your commute and add at least 10 to 15 minutes for traffic just to be safe. And basically, that's all. I think that's pretty much it on the tips and things I would suggest for you to think about when you're moving to Seattle. I'm not sure how this video is going to turn out. I do want to do another video regarding things I noticed after moving to Seattle, something that might give you like a heads up. So just wait for that video to come up. Hopefully it'll come up soon. But that being said, thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next video.